Well, I guess the one thing you could say is we are getting pretty good at this. We are getting pretty good at having an opportunity to talk about how we blew chances, how this team isn't good enough, how Matt doesn't look good, how the defense is garbage. The narrative goes on, and at some point, I mean, what do you say? Falcons go out again, lay another egg, folks. This time to the Carolina Panthers. Another time. I'll say it again. I'm not impressed. More impressed with how horrible we've looked more than anything else. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. We are a team in need of some changes. At some point, we have to stop pretending like we don't need a change. The only thing I will say is Arthur Blank gave me hope today by having that stare of death on the sidelines. Y'all saw it. But here's the reality, y'all. The Atlanta Falcons are 0-5. Our team is 0-5. Carolina, who is supposed to be in rebuilding mode, Teddy Bridgewater bridged the gap to the next quarterback, is 3-2. Tom Brady, as horrible as he's been, not even knowing what down it is 3-2. New Orleans, who we would love to talk about, but we can't because they're 2-2. And we're sitting back right now, folks, and we suck. My team is not good. My team is really bad. I'm trying to tell y'all, folks, and I'm looking at you, Larry. Blake had that death stare. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I saw a look on his face today, and I saw it through the mask he had on today. That was not a look that Dan Quinn probably wants to go into today. That's a look that you don't want to face in the post game. That I don't know whether that was liquor. I don't know whether that was sleep deprivation, but I know his eyes were burning through. And usually you see him over there. He might be talking to Dan on the side. He might talk to a coach, but he stood way away. And he was looking, and you know the look on his face? That look on his face said, what the blank have I gotten myself into? No pun intended. I think, folks, I'm going to tell y'all, if y'all got one of these, if you got one of these today, look out for your alert. I don't think he liked that. 23-16. And we looked bad doing it. How do you figure Todd Gurley has his best game in 2 years as a pro? Best game in 2 years. And we lose by 7, and probably should have been worse than that. At some point, listen, you have to do this for the franchise, Mr. Blank. You must do this. You can't sit back and wait until the end of the year. The man said it 20 times on the broadcast. No team in 0-5 has ever made the playoffs. So let's stop with the nonsense now about whatever. And you know what? I'm guilty. I sat on here and told y'all for the last couple of weeks, well, we're getting ready to go to the soft part of the schedule. I told you that. Hell, I'm mimicking myself. I said we were going into the soft part of the schedule. And we sitting here at 0-5. 0-5. Carolina looked better than us. Shoot, the Bengals look better than us. The Browns look better than us. It's horrible. And you can go down the line and pick. Yeah, Gurley gets a gold star today, but I mean, you can't give gold stars when your whole team is not showing up. What was up with the tackling today? That's the worst tackling I've seen them have all season. They made Mike Davis look like he was the second coming of Earl Campbell. Tackle the man. Stop with the stand them up and try to fumble the ball. You give them 10 extra yards. Samuel on a 3rd and 2. Y'all busy trying to strip the ball. Stop the man. Matt Ryan, and I'm going to tell you this too right now. I'm about to really hate myself now. John Harris comes on this place in this group all the time and tells you about Matt Ryan not letting the ball go. Matt Ryan not throwing the ball far enough. Matt Ryan not doing this. You know what? For one day, John, here's to you. That was bad. That might have been the worst Matt game I've seen in a long time. Because at least a couple of these weeks were, well, you can't blame Matt. This whole team needs an enema. This whole team needs to take a long look in the mirror. As I'm looking on the sideline, the irony of all ironies. Yeah, I don't want to get in people's personal stuff, but I'm sitting over there and I'm looking at Julio with his 24-karat gold watch and gold chain and, you know, chilling over there on the sidelines. And I'm saying to myself, yeah, I know you hurt, but I don't know. There's something about on an 0-5 team. I just need you to be a little. I need the wardrobe to be humble. 0-5, you can't have that much bling on thinking that that's cool. You're 0-5. And tonight, I don't want to hear about Trevor Lawrence. I don't want to hear about Justin Fields. I don't want to hear about Trey Lance. I don't want to hear all that junk. We need a freaking win. Where's the win? There's 11 more games out there, and we can't get a win. Just one. At what point do you, as Arthur Blank, at what point do you take this seriously? So this is a whole team loss today. This is a whole team loss. I'm sorry, I'm looking at some of the comments. Some of y'all coming back here. I'm going to turn the phones on for comments here the next couple of minutes. Daniel says Blank was on the phone with Phil with his grandson, so you know Dan is there. I was looking at that too. You know what he was probably telling his grandson? He said, grandson, go over there and hug Uncle Dan because this might be the last time you see him. My brother Chip Epps. Bridgewater looked like an MVP on the Falcons defense. He did. We made him look like that. We made him look great. We did. My brother Tonio, what's going on, brother Tonio? Said fire Quinn and Thomas. Also, it's time to be looking to draft a quarterback. And I don't even mind the listen, I say I don't want to hear the Trevor Lawrence thing. I understand where that comes from because, hey, when you 0-5, I think the projection is you're going to be at 0-16 or 1-15. I get it. But dang, I just want to see my team fight. Matt, you can't throw those interceptions like that, bruh. You can't throw that. You can't. There's no way you can do that. So I look at this and I'm just saying, yeah, folks, it's time. We've hung on long enough. We talked about it long enough. We keep at Seattle. It was Seattle, but yeah, we'll get Dallas. If we lose to Dallas in historic fashion, yeah, we'll get Chicago. Chicago, we match the historic fashion that we lost to Dallas, and then like we'll upset the world at Green Bay. At Green Bay, we upset the world. Well, we're in the division now. They're not that strong. Let's go get Carolina. We beat them 8 out of 9 times, and guess what? You lose again. Absolutely horrific. I don't even know what to say about that. I wanted to look at the stats, but then again, I don't want to look at the stats for this game. They were pretty bad. All I know, the biggest stat that I see is that they lost. And here's the thing that really makes me laugh. I look at a team like the Raiders. The Raiders basically rebuilt their team, brought in John Gruden, and look what they're doing to the Chiefs. I'm not saying the game is over with because you don't ever give up the game with Mahomes, but I'm telling you, man, this is horrible. This is horrible. Let me go down the list on some of these comments. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna open up the phones here in about 90 seconds. We'll open things up. Aaron says, coach is gone today. Larry, we have a closet full of weapons and we might and we want to have a fist fight. Ridiculous. And I'm gonna tell you what, too. Again, you waste Todd Gurley. When you waste Todd Gurley, that the first drive of the game, you have basically driven the ball straight down their throat. And then after you do that, then you go to a whole different game plan. I don't understand that. I really don't. So that's just crazy to me. I know right now it's anger and everything. So I'm gonna open this stuff up here in a couple of seconds. Let me get my stuff hooked up. Hold on one second. I actually got somebody right here calling as we speak. Somebody trying to jump the gun on me. How you doing, caller? This is Steve. Identify yourself. Tell me who it is.
Hey, Steve. Once again, this is Andre.
Hey, Dre. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? I'm undone, brother. I'm undone. This is crazy.
100%, bro. It's like, so I'm with everybody else. So me, I'm never just always Matt Ryan's fault. Matt Ryan didn't cost them.
Absolutely.
Looking at this game, bro, I'm just always always been a coach. There is certain things I'm like, how? Like every single week, we've had at least 2 drop passes in crucial plays.
Right.
Okay. So the first thing in my head is, as a coach, I'm seeing all these dudes running around with these gloves. Take the damn gloves off. Nobody on the team wearing gloves. That's one.
Right.
2, you hit it right on the head when you said we are running the ball great. I'm falling in my As I'm calling it, they're doing them and they're working. Why do we stop doing that? That's a coaching issue. Yeah, I mean, it's just like literally the breakdown in intensity, the breakdown in everything to me just circles back to coaching. All the way around, every coach has to go all up. Conditioning, because there's no reason for every year 6 players get hurt. Not just minor injuries, season-ending injuries. That's a conditioning issue. Like, conditioning coach got to go, head coach got to go, offense, defense, special teams, all of them have to go.
And when you say that, and I point out 2 specific drives in this game. The first touchdown drive, which you mentioned about the run game, where you saw you were gashing them. Todd Gurley, I listen, I got to give him credit today. Todd Gurley, every time he touched the ball, he fell for 4 or 5 yards. The second drive, the ill-fated drive, when we drive all the way down the field, and I'm telling you, Dre, I'm sitting there saying to myself, why are we putting this ball in the air? Shoot, Brian Hill was getting yards on the drive. You could see the Panthers gassed. Why are we doing that?
Again, I think it's a coaching issue. So in that play, I wasn't upset that we passed the ball. I was upset how we passed the ball.
Right.
First,
yeah.
We're in the 6-yard line. Okay. Right. Todd Gurley has been killing them. So what do? You put Todd, if you want to pass the ball, any smart offensive coordinator, put Todd Gurley back in. That's going to load the box. So when you see Todd Gurley in, they've loaded the box. If you want to pass, you're going to do a play action and screen, or you're going to do a play action and a quick slant. You ain't going to go to the back of the end zone. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It's something that I'm trying to figure out. So again, I horrible loss, 0-5. So I'm putting it on you too. Did you see anything? Did you read what I read? Did you see the look on Blank's face at the end of the game? Do you think that was a look of he's going to let this thing ride out, or do you think he makes a change?
I mean, looking at the product on the field, when you have defense that is not tackling, they keep trying to strip the ball. The man is getting 5 yards extra every time you do it. I mean, just looking at the product on the field, and I said, there's last week, I knew he wasn't going to be fired last week because it was a short week.
Right.
But I believe if he wants to, I believe at this point he has to for the fans. I believe he has to. Because although we are 0-5, and they have said no team has ever made the playoffs, we are still very much could be in the playoffs because, I mean, I know it's not likely, but we could, numbers-wise, still make the playoffs and still possibly be in first place if we win every game. But for the fans' sake, I think he has to.
I think the same thing too. Dre, I appreciate you, brother. We're going to move it on, man. We'll try it again next week, brother. Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
It's horrible. I'm looking at some of the things Larry says. Gurley, Hill, Smith were all eating today. I thought we were supposed to roll with the hot hand. That's the way I felt like. At some point, I think you roll with if the running game is working. Why are you going away from it? It's pretty stupid. Carla, how you doing today? This is Steve, man. Thanks for joining us. Please tell us who you are.
Number one Patriot fan.
Is that my boy Chip? What's going on, brother?
What's happening?
Man, how you doing, bro?
I'm good. Now, I'm going to give you something. I've been listening to you. I had to chime in on this.
Talk to me.
Matt Ryan came from Boston College, so, you know, I had a little bit of love.
I got you.
What people don't understand, from college until now, he's been a very poor decision maker. In the Super Bowl, he was a poor decision maker. These last 5 games, he's been a poor decision maker. That team rides with the quarterback. And if your quarterback is making bad decisions, everybody said it's not Matt Ryan's fault, but he's supposed to be the general. You paying him all that money to lead that team. And you make poor decisions. That broke the end zone was poor decisions. And even the commentators just sat out there and talked about how poor decision making has been. So that's one of your problems. But my other problem is I don't know how long and why a person like Dan Quinn has been able to stay in this league when we only get 2 seasons to turn everything around.
And here's the big difference, Chip. You support a team that in the market, any market in the Northeast, New York, Boston, Philly, there is an expectation and there is a media demand that you perform now. I don't care if it's your second year. If you don't perform, you leave. Here in Atlanta, it's this complacent. We'll sit. Think about how long, and I'm just changing sports. Mark Richt stuck around at Georgia. Think about how long we stuck with Mike Smith after we probably shouldn't have. And it's the same with Dan Quinn. We're still, at least Arthur Blank is still tasting a little bit of the NFC Championship champagne, but he that's over with. You got to turn the page.
What is it late? You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah, after the Super Bowl, you put Favre that just on Super Bowl, but he's still doing the same thing. Your defense leaking, and you're supposed to be defensive guru.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I'm gonna take the time to get a quick update from you. I missed being in service today. What's the latest on the Patriots schedule? I thought did they end up moving that game or what?
They put them on a bye week, and we're gonna play next week. Denver's coming to us next.
Okay.
So, and here's another thing. You know, everybody talks about, you really understand this sports is about money.
Yes, it is.
This move they made to the Patriots, they had it on the news. It wrecked everybody else's schedule. But one thing they don't want to happen, and this is what I tell everybody, I'm a Patriots fan, but they really like the fact that Cam wasn't there for Kansas City.
Right.
Because Kansas City's been leaking lately, and they leaked up at state.
Right.
But the thing about it is, now you're looking and saying, you know, what's going on and how they're going to play. And I'm going to share a quick fact. I got a friend, his son plays for Denver, Boyer.
Mm-hmm.
It was people that we know that know him, and we were going to fly down there to Denver and see the game.
Right.
Yeah, we were on tickets and hotel rooms and all this stuff. And then you cancel the game or you postpone it.
That's crazy.
So it's hard on fans.
Yes.
To determine how to watch these games, play these games. All going on is for the money. And McCourty said it's not about the players. NFL Players Association and the NFL are not for the players. They're about making this money for their press.
That's true. That's true. That's a very good point. It is the fans are the ones really getting the short stick during a time that the whole world is getting the short stick. Brother, I got to catch up with me, you, and JJ, man. I've been giving him a lot of static, but he's been throwing it back in my face. But I'm going to have to get you together with him, bring you over here so we can duel it out in person about these Patriots.
And you're right, man. And man love to you, man. And I miss you, man. And you're doing great things.
Thank you, Chip. Appreciate it. Love you too, brother. You take care, man. And that's one of my high school buddies, man. I appreciate him giving me a rein. Long time Patriots fan. He's not a bandwagon fan like a lot of folks are. He gets in there and lives and breathes those Patriots, man. Caller, how you doing today? Identify yourself. Talk to me.
Hey, man, this is Ricky. What's going on?
Man, Ricky, how you feeling, man? I saw your comments on there, man, when he's like, "This is ridiculous." What's going on, man? What do we do, man?
Well, I mean, I just watched a Houston Texan team get rid of a coach, put in a coach,
yep,
and win a game.
Yep.
Doesn't matter how. They put together 4 quarters of show no serious gameplay, and they came out with a W.
Yep.
Now,
Okay, so here's my outlook. They couldn't stop the run to save their life.
Not at all. Not at all.
Because Gurley looked like he did when he was with Georgia. Not with any other team, when he was with Georgia. He just running over. If Gurley wasn't running over, Hill was running over.
Right. Right.
And Lewis, Smith he was running over him. And I'm like, okay, we got the run game. Take Matt out of the equation. Keep Matt down if we got third and long. Ridley was eating too. So I'm like, okay, Ridley eating.
Yep.
Run game. What do? We put Matt back and Matt started throwing. That's one. Where is the return on the investment of Dante Fowler? We all of this into Dante Fowler to come into Atlanta. He excited. He want to play Queen. He played Queen. We was for all of that. Yada yada whoop whoop. Packers, I wouldn't expect that to stay in. Groin injuries just don't go away in 3 weeks. So you pushing the envelope on that.
Right. I saw. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm sorry. When you talked about Gurley, Gurley is doing a great job when you see how he was hitting those edges. And when he hit the edge, he beat them guys every single time for at least 4 or 5 yards. Was that just me?
It was confused.
Right.
But it was like, well, we thought Gurley's knee was bad. Oh.
No, sir.
His knee ain't bad. Now, if that, and this is for Atlanta Falcons fans, for everyone that says Gurley is finished, if you saw this performance for Gurley today, you shouldn't have that statement no more. Now, Steve, listen to me, sir. Listen to me. You know, man, you boys.
Yeah.
Man, and I love me some Steve. Bruh, I got to break it down. Matt Ryan?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We can't defend him no more.
I am trying. Rick, you listen to me. I'm trying to help him. But throws like that in critical junctures of the game, you cannot do.
You're in the red zone. You down 10, you in the red zone, right?
No, try again. Down 7.
Down 7, my bad. Down 7, in the red zone. What did you do last week? You handed the ball off to Gurley and let Gurley. That is Gurley's. Anybody that knows Todd Gurley, if you down that close, let Gurley eat. Stop throwing. We ain't got time to throw. We need some show no sures. Put the ball in Gurley's hand. And then still, I'm going to go back to this again. Why are we not using Gurley in the pass game? Why?
The one time you did the shuffle pass, it got you 10 yards and kept the drive going. When you did throw the ball to him. So
undid what you did. You undid is we took 3 steps forward and 10 steps back. Yeah. Last thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna let other folks run.
Oh no, it's all good. Go ahead.
But so I'm looking at that. See, why are we still using Shanahan's playbook?
I don't know.
Why are we still using Shanahan's playbook? Now I'm gonna say this. My grandma always told me anything with more than one head is a month. Why do we got 3 people calling the defense? So another thing. Why is Isaiah Oliver still playing? These are some of the questions that I have every time I sit down and look at this game. And I keep saying to myself, why? And my last question, Steve, is this. Why do you keep Dan Quinn in the building within the next 24 hours?
Well,
because you got to give the fan base, because you know what? If we let him go and let somebody else get in and run the team, and if nothing else happens the rest of the season, guess what? Everybody's going to be good. Now, being you folks know, it's going to be hard to put fool's name. You can't put Dirk Cutter there.
No.
We already see the garbage job he did in Tampa Bay. You can't You understand what I'm saying? Raheem Morris, maybe. The other guy that's helping Raheem with the defense, maybe. The problem that we got is food. And like I said, the meat trough gotta go. We got to do a total rebuilding of the team.
Listen, you're mirroring everything, and I'm gonna match one thing you did. The exact conversation you had with the line when you said, if we got rid of Quinn now and went 0-11, I still don't think you would get any drama because people are saying, well, you know what? At least you tried. You said it earlier. Houston went out there and said, you know what? We're 0-4. We won 4 out of 5 divisions with this guy, but we need a change. And what did they do today? And what did they do today? They won the game. So
they won the game.
So
let me say, I got one more thing.
No, you good. No, this ain't a radio station. This Steve station. I'll let you talk.
And then everybody is hollering for Eric Bieniemy. Everybody holler for Eric Bieniemy. Okay. What you got to understand is Eric Bieniemy is running Andy Reid's offense, basically.
Yeah, right.
Andy is the mad scientist, and he's running it. Eric he has the benefit of being under Andy Reid, of being an offensive coordinator and being a head coach is two different things. We see that now. We had a defensive coordinator that had the Legion of Boom looking stupid. But how much of that was Pete Carroll and how much of that was Dan Quinn? So here's the problem that we're having. Everybody calling, we want Eric Bieniemy. We want Eric Bieniemy. We don't know because you don't know how he's going to operate as a head coach.
I never even thought about the part.
Get Lincoln Riley. If you go get somebody, go get somebody fresh.
Absolutely. And I'm going to take a part of what you said, Rick, along with Andy Reid is the mad scientist behind this. Also, if Eric Bieniemy comes here, it's no different than just like you said with Dan Quinn. Is Bieniemy going to bring Patrick Mahomes with him? Is he going to bring Tyreek Hill with him? Is he going to bring Travis Kelce with him? I just named 3 of the top offensive players, probably the top 10 offensive players in the game right now. The little young cat from LSU. If he brings the rest of them, exactly. If he brings the rest of them, sign me up. But he's not bringing them. And he's going to have to work with, and I'm sorry to say this, even if we have probably an epiphany and finally get a new quarterback this year, it's not like you can give Matt away. Matt owes $30-40 million next year. Nobody's going to take that contract.
Trey. So there's another thing I'm talking about. There's another thing I was looking at as well. Okay, any coach that wants to come to Atlanta knows they're going to have to dump that and Julio off on somebody. Yeah. Because if they want to do what we call a rebuild, we are too depth heavy on the offense side. So who is the two top that's causing this gap? Matt Ryan, Julio. I don't care how much restructuring you do. You've got to get rid of them in order to get somebody in. So everybody, and there's another one I like that I'll be looking at all the time. Let's get Lawrence. Let's get Tank. Okay, let's do that. Let's tank. If Arthur don't do nothing about the coaching staff,
it ain't gonna matter.
You're gonna bring them 2 boys in here to make them look like dirt. Because if we still try to run the Shanahan playbook, trying to put them boys in it, and they scramble, I mean, I want Atlanta Falcons fans to think. I want them to think. Don't just look at eye candy. That's the problem. They look at Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, we want Eric Bieniemy. Right. So they're in a system. Andy Reid designed that when he went at Mahomes, he went at him specifically for that system. Why? Look at how he ran with Donovan McNabb, Mike Vick. He has a system for mobile quarterbacks. You got to understand the game, Steve. You got to know the game. Oh my God,
Rick! I'm bringing you on screen next time, bro. Because you sitting over here You got folks excited over here, man, and you are absolutely, positively on point. I mean, there is nothing that you were saying that's not correct. And I again, I'm piggybacking off of the stuff that you're saying. Think about what Reed did. Even though Reed just won his first Super Bowl, he renewed Mike Vick. It made him an MVP candidate. He if you remember draft night when he got Mahomes that day, he looked like somebody had stole something. And like the rest of the league wasn't in on it. He looked like he stole something.
He was like, "Oh, y'all want Mitch?
Oh, you can have Mitch."
You can have Mitch. Give me Pat Mahomes. Everybody look at Richard Wilson. I said, y'all want Mitch? Okay, that's fine. Give me Pat Mahomes. Why? Because I got an offense that's specially designed. That's the reason why Pat Mahomes got paid $500 million.
That's true.
Because that offense that Andy Reid designed was specially designed. Go back. Look at Philly.
Yeah.
That offense was specially designed for a quarterback like that.
Yeah.
So when he came into it, the only thing he did was drop into a system. That's the reason why Tom Brady has gone through so much now. Yeah. Tom Brady is used to the 10-yard jump balls, go down there and feed Julian Edelman, and he gets yards out the catch. But Arians is a downfield coach. That's the reason why Jameis funny, even though we were guaranteed to get an interception with Jameis. But still, it was designed to go downfield.
Right.
Tom don't want to go. Tom ain't trying to go downfield like that. He used to go up and be a 15-yard group down the line and go.
Not sure if Tom can, bro.
You got to understand the game. So bringing Trevor Lawrence is not going to solve our problem.
Nope.
Justin Fields is not going to solve our problem. Eric Bieniemy is not going to solve our problem. It's not going to do it. Because we got too much baggage. That's the reason why we don't look, and even still, we don't look appealing as a team for a coach to come in. We don't look appealing. We need to get a new general manager. Now, I'm gonna tell you who I would like to see as a general manager, possibly Tony Dungy. Why? That man knows winning. He also knows players. You got to be able to bring in the right players into this right kind of stuff. Man, then you got to get an offensive coordinator because Dirk can't stay here. No. That should have been gone last year. Can I be real? Sarkisian is doing did a better job than Dirk did.
Absolutely. Like I said, people were dogging Sark the first year. Remember the second year in 2018, Sark came and Sark was averaging 30 yards a pop. Our defense couldn't stop anybody.
Did we make it to the playoffs?
Yeah.
Did we make it to the playoffs? I just want to ask that.
Yeah, we did.
Did we make it to the playoffs?
We did.
And we was one catch away from being in Minnesota, playing Minnesota.
Absolutely.
What?
And would have beat Minnesota. And would have beat Minnesota that year. I
would have did much better.
And I think, Ricky, when you start talking about Dungy, I'm gonna tell you the only thing I think Dungy might be done. I think about those people that have been in television so long that they might, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have the itch, but I think he's also at a point with his age. He don't want to deal with it. I think he's at a point where he's like, you know what? I'll just judge from afar. Now, I've had my eye on Louis Riddick for a long time. He has ties to Atlanta. He used to play for the Falcons. And he's always been somebody that I think in this city would be somebody that might spark some interest. Now, I will say this. You bring Riddick in here, or really any other GM in here, Matt Ryan and Julio Jones are gone. Because you have to start from scratch.
Know this.
Yeah.
Started talking about cleaning out.
Yeah, you got to.
Ryan and Julio is gone.
Yeah.
If we doing the total rebuild, they're out.
Yeah.
They're out.
Yeah.
They're going to be out because you can't build. That's another problem that we have too, Steve. We base the talent of our entire team on work.
That's
so
right.
we can get in the draft.
Yeah.
Try to find this whole Dimitrov Quinn thing since he's been there, trying to go into the draft, trying to find some players that are fitted to the system right. But then when you get them, look You hear me? He's a bust.
Yeah.
A
That was a second round pick, too. That was a second round pick that year.
We wasted
We
it.
wasted a second round. This will be the second time in about 4, because it was Oliver and then my brother Jaden Collins, but he gave you a little bit. Hey, I need you. I need.
Collins was better than this.
Yeah, but I need you more than a year. He gave us what he needed the Super Bowl year. I give him credit on that. But he could. He could leave them doobies alone.
He couldn't leave but the boy could play.
Oh, he could play ball. Now the thing I'll say is,
he made True step up.
Look, yeah, absolutely he did, because True was gone and he was ready to take his place.
Man, come on.
He was ready to take his place out there.
That boy was in the Super Bowl, man. There was so much pressure on Aaron Rodgers. They could get to Aaron Rodgers because the secondary had it locked down. And Colin was back there. And then now you get this started.
Well,
I say I was skeptical about our first round pick, but the way I see how we doing these ones and what side here, because it's now the left side of the O-line is the problem now. It ain't the right side, it's the left side. How you gonna cut block somebody?
I was looking at that and I was saying to myself, that's just
how you gonna clip block somebody and we paying you all this money?
That was not good at all. Rick, I got these calls, man. Let me let you go. It's been a pleasure, brother. You know you always up here, man. Look, I have to rehab tomorrow. Trust me. You give me a call then, man, and we'll hopefully we'll get some news by then. But give me a ring tomorrow, man.
It should be fine. That should be that. We ain't got Ian Rapper because he went online trying to do whatever it is with his private thing. But Ian should be letting us know this evening. Breaking news. Put the blank tire, Dan Quinn. Come on, y'all.
I'm looking again. I'm putting it out there. We need to see something today. That's embarrassing. Rick, you have a great evening, brother.
You as well. Take care, man.
Thank you, brother. I sometimes when you get people that will, kind of shoot it to you straight, there is nothing in that conversation that was not true. There was absolutely nothing in that conversation that was not true. I'm telling you, y'all tell the truth more than the organization does. Caller, how you doing? This is Steve. Identify yourself and thanks for joining us. Now listen, I want to listen to me. Listen to me. I want you to know that I gave a full shout out today.
Oh, I heard.
I gave you a full shout out. So don't expect anything else in the next couple of weeks. But I gave you a full 100% shout out to your fair criticisms of our 13-year vet.
And everybody, including you, was kicking and screaming to that shout out.
Right. So before you get into your analysis, I do want to ask you, did you watch the end of the game and saw Arthur Blank and the look on his face during that game?
I saw all the crooks were down there. It was the Petro, the King, all of us down there. I said, is this a sign or something?
No, look, all you didn't see was buzzards circle around Dan Quinn, because I think that's what you got. You got a dead man walking. Sit down.
Yeah, I can't, because I believe all the things, so I want everybody down on the field. Can I come out of this? Everybody down here on this. Hey, man, he might have made that call. And told me to come down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But today, your defense, even though, and I complained about the same thing that was going on. Everybody trying to strip.
Right.
Running.
Right.
Got one man that match him up and at least slow the man down, but everybody's arm, point at the ball.
Right.
Trying to strip the ball from the man.
Right.
And see, the
It's
You know,
crazy.
stare down Sammy again, watching Gabe going back for flinging the ball. Oh man, you know, I see he's right so many times like this, but I've been telling you, man, I've been telling y'all about this man. And his thing is, the man might throw a 590 yards on 11 or 12 completions, but that one completion, that wrong, that one mistake, that
Right.
wrong time
Right.
of the game is what kills everything. It just kills everything. And then, you know, that second drive that we had was really a thing of beauty.
It really was. It really was. It really was. We ran the ball. The offensive line was bucking up man for man and making holes. And Todd Gurley had some kind of fountain of youth over there, and he was hitting them holes like my man said earlier today. He was hitting them holes like he was back in Georgia.
Yeah.
And I say to you, as you and I always talk about this stuff, what would possess you to change anything? You had these guys on the ropes on that drive, running the ball down the field. Why would you switch that up and try to force a pass in there?
Because either Ryan or Sutter said, all right, I need to give that a little love here now. Time for Mexico.
Yeah.
It wasn't okay, Steve, the way that we were gashing them in the run game. And see, this is something that I was always saying about Sutter.
Right.
And with Artesian off, not being able to use this playbook. Now, if you are going, okay, if you run the ball 3 times out of the eye, out of a single back, out of a step,
right,
and you want to throw the ball, why do you go into a 5-5 set right after coming out of a single back or a eye instead of going play action out of that eye? You declare it as right something up because you don't have any plays where you can pull tight end back to the running back something that they do something. But the thing is, you declare on the line of scrimmage what it is that you're about to do.
right.
Instead of using that same I formation, because you still got 5 receivers in the I formation, the 2 running backs, the 2 wide receivers, and the tight end.
Right.
You still got time to throw the ball, but you declare and tell people exactly what you're getting ready to do by the formations you put up there on the line.
I apologize, Jay. I want you to answer this too. I'm not cutting you. I want you to answer this. Brother Kevin told us that again. That stuff is probably scripted at the start. I'm assuming he's talking about the drive at the very beginning, as far as how the run pass play went early. But I think when you're at a point where you're struggling offensively and you can get your run game going, there's no better friend to a quarterback than a good running game. You said it yourself. Is Dirk at a point where you're saying, let's make Matt a hero? I don't understand that. I don't understand why we would go away from that. So I agree with you, Kevin. But I think my thing is, if it's something that you see that you can execute against the defense, why would you go away from it?
And well, you wouldn't. You really wouldn't. But there was a time during that game while you were running so well that they heated up. Quarterback could come up to the line of scrimmage. Linebackers that got a little close to support, trying to stop the run. That's when you bust them. When you get up toward the line of scrimmage, that's when you tear them up. If you go deep, you bomb them and you hurt them and put that in their minds. And that once you do that one time, all that eating up, all of that keeping in the backfield, my cornerback, they love to do it. They get burnt for it. You know, you stop all that. You put a halt to all that. And the best thing for a quarterback besides their running game is to have a defense in not knowing what to tell. Now, your last caller talking about enemy and Andy Reid. Now, guess what? They running the same offense they're running.
Right.
They're running the West Coast offense. Andy Reid is off of the Mike Holmgren, off of the Bill Walsh street. These are West Coast offense that are being run here. All right? So if you did get an Eric Enemy, he would take West Coast offense, tweak it the way that he wants, just like everybody else did coming down the line from Bill Walsh.
But you need a West Coast quarterback. And I think that's the biggest. That's the biggest thing. It took Matt a year from the infamous 8-8 throw Roddy the ball 3 times in 3 plays year to get through, and finally finally teach him how to do that. I don't think Sark was thinking the same. Yeah. But you need the quarterback to do that. You guys, my man Dre came out here and said the only time I would ever agree with you, John, if you wanted to go pass play, we already killing them in the run. Tell him that's the only time he'll ever agree with you. So just to let you know that you finally got one person to pretend like they believe what you said.
I wish I was asked to thing is that, okay, West Coast offense paid for a weak-arm quarterback. And what's supposed to happen, the West Coast offense time. Okay, now, but in half now, you have better quarterbacks that can throw teeth. Brett Favre came out, when Aaron Rodgers came out, they still running the West Coast offense.
Right.
Florida is one of the West Coast offense, okay? But their quarterbacks aren't running quarterbacks all the time. They can escape out of the pocket, they can move, they can do various things, but it's all timing. Plus, that they tell those quarterbacks, look one way and throw the other. That's how your receivers are wide open in some of these offenses, because they look one way and they throw somebody else. You're not even checking that other man. But guess what? The Falcons receivers are always covered because they always know where the ball is going to go. That's Brian said to him the time he gets dressed to home in the morning until he decided to throw him the ball. Watching him all the way, he probably time in his hip. So he started that on the line all the way across, oh boy. It's a middle.
I know it's super frustrating to sit here and watch these guys do this over and over and over and over again. But I'm gonna leave you with this and then tell me what you think. Was there anything in a difference that's today that you would think that would make Arthur Blank think about making some changes? Anything you saw out of the day?
No, but see, the problem is, even if you say, for instance, you fired off, say, for instance, you fired Dan, say, for instance, you fired.
Right.
What's going to change?
No, yeah.
What is going to change?
No, but here's the thing. I think this is the deal, though. And when you start thinking about it, Jay, okay, you can't do anything about 2020 right now. There's zero you can do. You're not running 11 straight. You're not doing that. There's nothing you can do about 2020. This is in the worst case scenario we had for this season to start. There is not a soul that was thinking we were going to start 0-5. Nobody.
It's going to be that bad.
Not that bad. Again, there was some that said, y'all might be a little rough at the end. It might be 2-3 or whatever. There was not a person that I heard from that said we were going to start 0-5. Nobody. So if you make a change now, and I'm piggybacking off what Ricky said right before you came on, at least you're showing this fan base that this organization recognizes that there are some really bad beats going on right now. There's some bad steps. If you keep allowing this guy to just, it's almost like a bad mold. If you let it keep sitting there and just letting it fester, and you have a couple of good folks that you can still start in this organization. I still like, listen, Grady Jarrett is still an all-pro defensive lineman to me. And he's probably the only person that I've had nothing bad to say during this whatever. Andre says Dan Quinn is fired per Jeff Schultz. I'm going to look for Jeff Schultz right now and see. And Jeff usually is not somebody who gets this. Hey Jay, I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna get on here and see if I can see anything else on this thing. Call me back if it does happen. Okay. All right, buddy. All right, I'm gonna see how true this is. It says announcement coming Monday. I'm gonna try to see if I can get it on. I'm gonna try to see if I can get this, because he is definitely somebody for Schultz. There he is. Okay. All right. Jeff Schultz, I'm gonna give you his I'm gonna give you his quote here on Twitter. His quote says, the firing, this is 8 minutes ago, the Falcons firing of Dan Quinn has all been finalized, and an announcement could come Monday or Tuesday, a source has just told The Athletic. Jeff Schultz has been in Atlanta sports for a long time, working for the AJC. Thank you so much for that, Dre. And usually his sources are pretty good, especially when you're talking about Atlanta sports. That would definitely be somebody that I would tend to believe if he's saying that. Caller, how you doing? This is Steve. Thanks for joining us. Please identify yourself.
Hey, Steve, this David, man.
Hey, Dave, man. How you doing, man? I was hoping you were listening to me. I apologize for holding off on you for a quick second. But again, Jeff Schultz, formerly of the AJC and now with The Athletic, says 8 minutes ago, the Falcons firing of Dan Quinn has all but been finalized, and an announcement could come Monday or Tuesday, a source has told The Athletic. So aside of and thank you, Andre, for that heads up. So aside of what you were gonna say, what is that say to you, brother?
Exactly what took so long. Exactly what took so long.
Right.
I mean, we're sitting up here and right now, you know, Steve, I'm just defeated right now.
Yeah.
I'm just feeling defeated right now. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm done with Dan Quinn.
Right.
I'm done with Thomas Dimitrov.
Obviously, Blanky is too.
I'm going. And he has made the first. If this show's report is true,
right?
He has made the first step today.
Yeah.
To cleaning this house and maybe getting this thing turned around. But Steve, let's face it. With Matthew Julio's contract, it's gonna take years.
Right.
The next head coach they bring in here is going to have some time because because of the cap hit and the dead money, we just can't go.
No.
Right now.
Yeah. You can't.
And right now, nobody's gonna take him. Especially with that rise with the past 2 weeks. I love that. God, I love that. But
absolutely.
past 2 weeks, he has been horrible. He has been horrible the last 3 weeks. And there's just no way around that. Julio, 2 out of the last 3 weeks. Yeah, you may be the elite receiver in this league, but ain't nobody in the on this sideline.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, Okay.
Yeah.
So and right now, and we're talking about hamstrings and calves and stuff like that. Those soft tissue injuries stand the beginning of the end for the skill players. Note that, Falcons fan base. The soft tissue injuries stand the beginning of the end for skill players.
Yeah. And the rest of the league, again, you're not going to get much love on that because the rest of the league is dealing with the same exact thing. They had the same. Every team did not have a preseason, so it's nobody is going to get a pass on that.
No.
Nobody.
And I'm glad they injured out. I'm glad that Quinn is not gone off the blank into that injury pass again. Because you know what? Other teams deal with injuries. It's the NFL. It's not if you get hurt, it's when.
Right. I'm putting it up there right now, the tweet that Jeff Schultz did send. So anybody want to take a look. I thank, like I said, again, I thank Andre for bringing that to my attention. I see Ricky has the line out there. At this point, when you hear about the firing of Dan Quinn, David, as somebody that I trust in your opinion and what you say, is this a dual move? Should TD be right there with him? I think he should.
Yes. Steve, tell you this right now. So the fiasco that was 13 and 14, I thought TD should have been going right along with my shit.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I thought so too, Dave. And when they said Dan Quinn wanted him to go as well, there was something, not wanted him to go, they wanted him to stay. There was something weird about that to me. Maybe because he didn't have a personnel field, maybe he needed somebody to help him in that area, but that did scare me.
No, I don't think he didn't have a personnel field. I think he didn't have a cap field.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Maybe so. Right.
I'm thinking he didn't have a cap field, or he didn't have a real need to manage the cap.
Right.
He probably needs to manage the cap. Like he's done a good job with that. But talent he found, no.
Brother.
Because you want to know something, Steve? We sit up here and year after year after year as we are dealing with these injuries. What do we talk about with this football team?
And not your depth is what's gonna save you in these times with, just like you were talking about, these soft tissue injuries and everything like that. That's what a good GM does. A good GM, listen, I give this guy from Carolina, Rule, and I don't know if Rule picked Davis or whoever picked Davis, to say to yourself, yeah, he's not McCaffrey, but brother looked good today. Now, part of that could have been our sorry defense, but at least he stood in the gap and held it down when he needed to. Tell me your thoughts, Dave. I know you and I appreciate that bit on that. Tell me your thoughts about Matt Ryan on that last drive, that we were trying to tie. Super disappointed in that throw. Tell me what you think about that.
I'll put it on Titus Square. Bad throw and even worse decision in the end zone.
And my 13-year vet can't make that decision, Matt. He can't make that decision.
You can't make that decision. You can't do it. You just can't do it.
You had.
As I looked at the replay, Steve, like he just came open on the call.
Yeah. I saw the same thing. I saw the same thing. And you know what I think happened? I think he got upset that he missed Hurst on that play where Hurst was wide open. And he missed that throw. And I think he said, I want to go back and make up for that. Because last time I came back, I was tentative. This time, I'm just going to let it go. And I would have rather him been tentative on that one as opposed to the play choice.
And he had an extra half pick. The kids coming over on that curve. He had the extra
when you saw that, I saw that, and when he made that curve, I said to myself, I said, boy, that is so jacked up. That is so. Our admin Marcus Washington just posted that they got a text that Quinn has been fired. I said again, this is not brain surgery, folks. This is not this is not unexpected.
And I'm not giving Arthur a hero cookie for this, man. It took way too long.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There are no hero cookies for this, man. It took way too long. I'm sorry. And my thing is this here, Steve, too. He needs to go as my dude said. He needs to go right along with it. This team needs to be evaluated from QB1 all the way down to PK2.
And let me ask you, I'm asking questions because I love hearing what y'all think about this. And it might just be me. When I'm looking over there and I'm seeing Julio smiling with his 24-karat watch and big gold chain and there's something, and I know I'm a little seasoned, so I'm trying to respect that too. But something bothers me about that as my team is 0-4 and I can't go because I'm gimpy. I'm not saying I could go if I had a messed up groin, but exactly. And did that bother you?
I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, we are 0-4 right now. We are 0-4 and we are getting ourselves with up and down the back last year, and you over there TTC, all blamed up and you're smiling.
And that's the part that ticks me off because I want somebody else to see. And I look over there and I look at Grady, man, and Grady got that one expression all game. You look at Grady Jarrett, Grady got that one expression all game that he's pissed off. And I'm not saying, I don't even know what Grady's saying, but I know the look at him that I look and I see, and Grady also performs, and I see every time that look on his face is like, no, I ain't playing. It's game time. It's time to play.
Exactly. It's time to play. But see, I think with Grady, that comes with having a little bit of NFL lineage.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. His daddy was like that too. Pops was like that too. Because he had the same look on his face. You didn't see him skinning and grinning a whole lot.
No.
You didn't see him skinning and grinning. You saw him hitting a lot of people, but you didn't see a lot of skinning and grinning from the hammer. Not at all. Not at all. I'm gonna follow up on this story, Dave, and get this other call in here, man. But listen, I appreciate you. I'm gonna be on the rehab. It look like that rehab might end up being a little bit more. If we get breaking news on it, I'm gonna come on live and we're gonna discuss it. And Dave, you're gonna be one of my top ones, so make sure you call me back, my brother.
I got you, bro.
Thank you, sir. I again look like we got a couple of sources, so I'm trying to see if I can get anything. I'm sure AJC is probably on top of it as well when they get news like that. But if we end up making any changes, I will absolutely break in and give you a sign. How you doing, caller? This is Steve. Thanks for joining us. Identify yourself here.
Steve, this Gregory, man.
Greg, man, what's going on, Bubba?
Man, why we 3 weeks too late, man?
No, a year too late. But at the bye, a year too late. Look, the bye last week too late.
Man, he knew his jaw was he was pulling a Jason Garrett in there.
And look, Greg, every time I saw him clapping his hands like a cheerleader when we were making plays, I said to myself, that is absolutely absolute. Our other admin just came on. Toddy just came on and it says Quinn has officially been fired again. I put the tweet out there for Jeff Schultz. I have that written down there. Hey Toddy, if you get a chance, paste that text for me
Yeah,
if you get it. Yeah, hey, put it in there so we can bring it on live. We're gonna stay live as long as we can to talk about it until we hopefully get probably an official word on it. But until that time, Greg,
First of all, like I've been saying, remember we talked earlier in the season.
Yes, sir.
Like I've been saying, every go-ahead touchdown has been scored on who?
Oh, all of them.
Exactly. I think I got an idea of what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? It makes no absolute sense. It just makes no sense that you don't know your job or even the fundamental mechanics after 3 years. You are a bust, and you need to be washed out just like the old trash. Just take it on out, and you know what I'm saying? Put your new bag in the trash can, man.
And you told me, and listen, I'm as guilty as the next person because I was the person during the off season telling folks, hey, I saw a little improvement in Oliver at the end. There is no doubt he played better in the second half last year. There's no doubt he played a little bit better in the second half of last season. But this year, it's like he got untaught everything he learned and regressed to worse than he did when he came out there in 2018. So it's hard.
It to be bad. Like as soon as he was learning the correct way and the correct proper ways to bat a pass down or defend the receiver or whatever, he just went back to his basic screw-ups. And that's the problem. You can't divert back to the basic screw-ups and expecting to elevate. And this is the highest level of the NFL. If you don't know that job by 3 years, you have no business being there. I don't even think he practiced squad material, man. He is horrible.
Right. And walk me through what you thought, Greg, of what could have been the game time drive, because it was frustrating up to that point.
I seen, not to cut you off, but I seen what you was talking about to the other caller.
Yeah.
That pass in the end zone.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Being that much of a veteran, it should be instincts to throw that ball too high for nobody to catch it.
Yes.
Don't try to squeeze it in there. I know you want to score.
Yeah.
I know you want to get us in the game.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? Just being that much of a veteran, you 12, 13-year veteran, common sense should have come across your head to just, okay, there's nobody open. Let me just throw it high.
There you go. There you go.
Give us to live another day.
Give us the three. Give us the three. Our defense, listen, and say what we want to say. And I know we had some horrible moments on defense today. But say what you want to say. Carolina scored 3 points in the second half. So from the 20 to the 20, we protected ground a little bit. So that makes me more ticked off at Matt for throwing that interception, because your defense was actually making a couple of key third down stops in the second half.
You know another thing I hate?
What's that?
I understand the defense is not playing the part, but people in the group bashing Fowler. Let me tell you what Fowler's presence presents.
Yeah.
Fowler's presence presents enough time for Grady Jarrett to get around those edges, do a bull rush, do a spin move, and put pressure on the quarterback. People not living it, they just not expecting what Fowler's presence is doing. His presence enough is giving Grady Jarrett more than enough time to do his job. So it's not all about the numbers all the time. It's the presence that does the job. And just Fowler's presence is making that defensive line look like, I still say that the defensive front is still looking better than it has looked for the past 4 or 5 years. I don't care what nobody said, because just Fowler's presence is giving Jarrett that time to get up in there.
Right.
That's football 101.
Right.
For those that's posting in the group and always saying something about, well, Fowler ain't got the numbers, Fowler ain't got the sacks. It's not about the sacks and the numbers. It's about the defensive presence and the wherewithal to get Grady back there in the back. He's been back now past. He's been doing classic Grady stuff.
Right.
It's not all about the numbers, man.
And here's the other thing. The first game, he really played well. And I know Tat was on the other side wrecking havoc. And I don't want people to get caught up in sacks just to get caught up in sacks.
Problem.
Yeah.
Problem. Yeah, that's the problem.
It's not about, like I said, it's not about the numbers, man. that defensive wherewithal that Fall is presenting that is giving us. Because look, you got to think, if everybody was at Pack, people got to fail to realize Pack is playing for a check right now.
Right.
Fowler locked in, Gritty locked in. And they're not playing like we're having a losing season. They're not playing like that. Those two are not playing like that.
Right.
Jones, he had his hot flashes, you know what I'm saying, on defense as the linebacker. But those two, I got to give them credit. They're not playing like we have a losing season, and I got to give them credit for that.
Right. I'm looking at Twitter. I'm trying to follow so I can get stuff. No. Stay right there. The top three. No, number 4 trending right now on Twitter is Arthur Blank, and and the reason and not only that, I think Arthur Blank gave a look that I have not seen in a long time. And
me and my old lady was sitting there watching the game, Steve, and what we paid attention to is the presence on the field. When I seen Arthur Blank start conversating, I guess that was the other person in the head office. He was walking around talking to different people. I was like, oh, okay, there you go. That's what I was waiting on.
He was telling Quinn, hey, make your press conference short today. We got some business to talk about. Exactly. I think he's embarrassed. I think at some point, I'm surprised he waited this long. I'm not sure. Listen, after the Chicago game, there was something about the way your team performed in those games that would have given reason for you to make that move. Even when
question right here, Steve.
Go ahead.
This is a good question for all the people that might be iffy on Quinn. Mm-hmm. What does his resume speak to have that locker room in his pocket? What is on his resume? Okay, you got a Super Bowl loss, right. Got a 10-5 season, you got a 7-9, and 0-5 start. Right. What can you possibly say on that resume that will have the players locked in on you as the defining fact?
And
nothing left.
And don't forget the 5-0 start to 2015. Where we basically bombed in the second half of the season, exactly. When we should have. If any team at 5, I remember that year, 5-0, 5-0. You're supposed to be in the playoffs.
I ain't even popped the bottle today because I already knew what time it was. I ain't even opened it up. I said, well, I'll take a sip after the game because I know if I'm watching how we play, how our defense play, that bottle going to be gone. So I said, I'm going to wait after the game.
My brother, I appreciate you, Gregory. Listen, we're going to stay.
One more question, Steve.
Oh, talk to me, brother. I apologize.
You die hard just like me.
Yes, sir.
Who do you think? Not anyone this year, but next year when we get ready to put somebody in place, who do you think qualifies that can get us on the right track?
I think you start with the general manager, and I think as a general manager, it's a couple of people that I would like to see it here. I would love to see Louis Riddick get an opportunity to come here and do some things and be able to do it.
Look at him.
That's my realistic view. My unrealistic pick is somebody that has retired allegedly, but somebody that I think if we brought into the Atlanta area, possibly Ozzie freaking Newsome. Okay, bruh, I hate that we on that vibe together. I think if Arthur Blank said, now remember what Ozzie did. Now he got one at both ends. He got one at the beginning end. At the beginning with Radom the first time, and then he got one at the end. And dang near if Lamar could have thrown a pass or two last year.
We need an uplifting spirit in this franchise.
That's
so awesome.
Listen.
This way out of control.
Let's call it like we see it. Ozzie Newsome is a winner. He's a Hall of Famer. He's somebody that if he comes here, he commands. The culture will change. The culture will absolutely change. We will get rid of this stale, stagnant Thomas Dimitrov. And again, let me make it clear as I'm saying this too, Greg. I appreciate the winning culture change at the beginning. Look, this franchise was in worse straits in 2007 when Vic had his transgressions and we were throwing out Byron Leftwich and Joey Harrington and stuff like that. So we were in worse shape. Thomas Dimitrov came. He brought Matt Ryan. He gave us something we hadn't had in a long time, 5 straight winning seasons. We appreciate it. We had a Super Bowl out of this, a Super Bowl appearance. We get it. It's not that we're not saying we don't appreciate this, but after a certain amount of time, you got to let it go and move on to the next phase. Yeah. And that goes for Dimitrov, that goes for Quinn, that goes for Matt, that goes for Julio, and somebody to come in here that command the respect and tell Arthur, say, Arthur, I know we're going to take a cap hit with Matt.
Before you go, Steve, you know what makes me feel so good about that 1-point loss right now?
What's that?
Against Dallas.
What's that?
How are they struggling 17-3 against New York right now?
So
talking trash about that 1-point win. They celebrate. I'm talking about I stay in Dallas. They was all in my face, Steven. All in my face about that 1 point. So y'all feel good about beating an 0-5 team and you're struggling against an 0-4 right now? That's not that good. Not that good.
And think about this. Dallas is a stupid onside kick away from being 0-5.
Yeah.
Dallas. Almighty Dallas is one step away. My brother, I appreciate it, man. Like I said, be on the lookout. If this becomes official, I'm gonna come on live tomorrow and we're gonna holler about it.
All right, man, you take care.
Thank you, brother. You too, man. That's Brother Gregory, man. Again, reports have that Dan Quinn is going to be let go. Trying to see if I can get anything else. I'm pretty sure my man what's my boy's name from AJC? D. Orlando Ledbetter. I'm pretty sure that he is going to be all over some things, but it's not. Jeff Schultz is somebody who's here and is not going to make. He's not going to come out and make some changes. I mean, not changes. He's not going to have any rumors going out like that. Caller, how you doing? This is Steve. Welcome in. Identify yourself.
How you doing?
What's going on, buddy? Who's that?
Man, Keelan.
Hey, what's up, Keelan? How you doing, brother?
Man, I told you first game I was not going to invest any emotions into this season.
Yeah.
And I can't say anything else that your callers have done a great job on this afternoon. It's time for reorganization. And I hate to see a lot of people go, but it's just time. It's time for reorganization. We can't keep doing this.
And knowing that you're the fan that you are, and I know you are, it's not that we're saying you personally. It's not personal. It's nothing personal. Look, Dan Quinn, he brought a different culture in that was great for the moment and did what it was supposed to do. We rallied. We had brotherhood, rah-rah. But at some time when it's stale, you have to make a move, right?
You have to. I mean, the past few years have been fun. Even in those losing seasons, I had a lot of fun at the new stadium, transitioning from the dome. But it's time to see results, and just it's hard to believe a successful businessman like Arthur Blank is letting this continue. So hopefully, it's not just going to start with the coach. And the coaching staff, we got to retool this thing. And unfortunately, Julio, and if we can get rid of Matt Ryan, and I'm a big Matt Ryan fan, they got to go.
Yeah. Listen, I got Matt Ryan. If you looked around, if I turned this camera around, I got Matt Ryan all over the place, and love me some Matt. Thank you for the MVP season. Thank you for changing the fortunes of this franchise in 2008 to a team that was supposed to win instead of being the bottom dwellers. We appreciate that. But again, so tell me, Keelan, right off the bat, if with this news coming down for next year, forecast 2021, what direction would you go for a leader? And it can be head coach, GM, or both. What name circles in the Evans head to say this is going to be the next guy?
I like your suggestion as Lewis Riddick as GM. We need a coach. We need an overall coach change in this organization. Period. As far as head coaches, I do not know. See, my biggest complaint about Dan Quinn is it looks like he's not doing anything on the sideline. You see all these other
he's clapping his hands, Keelan. He's yeah, boys, come on.
I mean, his play chart never comes out of his back pocket.
Yeah.
It stays in his back pocket. So I'm like, I mean, Matt Rule looked like he didn't look like a rookie.
No.
NFL coach today.
He looked like a coach. And to your point, you make a big change. Are we seeing that truly Kyle Shanahan and maybe Matt LaFleur? Because Matt used to be on the field and Shanahan was in the booth. Are we saying now, and I believe this, that they were covering for deficiencies that Dan Quinn had?
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Big time. I mean, it showed. And I hate conspiracy theories, but we could have won that Super Bowl game if we had kept the foot on the pedal.
Yeah.
And something happened in that second half.
Yeah. I think Dan Quinn told him to start running. There's still a part of me that thinks Dan Quinn told him something that changed his, because Kyle went for the jugular in every game from that Kansas City game in 2016, from the Kansas City game that we lost on the pick 2, all the way to the third quarter of the Super Bowl. We went for the jugular. Then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, you change up. From that point on, it seems like our offense have been stacked. I give Sark a little bit of credit. The year after he came, he did a little bit of good stuff. But for the most part, man, Dan Quinn, you're the leader. You have to answer for this. You got to answer for it.
I hate to talk of people saying we're tanking on purpose to get Trevor Lawrence. And like you said earlier, Trevor Lawrence with his coaching staff, it's not going to work.
Exactly. So, with the right coach, a right coach can take a second and third round quarterback and turn him into a star. See Pete Carroll, see Russell Wilson. And it could absolutely happen, man. Brother Keelan, I appreciate you, brother. Please try to join us if you get a chance. We're going to talk about this stuff all night, man. But you take care of yourself, man. All right, brother. Yeah, I see the comments coming. Dre, and I just told you, Dre, when you about GM and head coach. The head coach, the bigger pick for this team is going to be the GM, because I need the GM to make that head coach call. I don't need Arthur Blank to make that call. I think you bring the GM. And I know some teams go about it differently and they go get the head coach, because in a lot of cases the head coach will come in and make the GM hire. But in this particular case, I would go out and get a GM first, because the GM is going to make all the critical hirings for the future of this franchise. Carla, how you doing? This is Steve. Thanks for joining us on this Dan Quinn maybe out day. And identify yourself.
What's up, Steve? This is Jimmy.
Jimmy is the host of Hallway Conversations. Y'all make sure y'all check him out. I'm pretty sure he's going to have some extremely interesting thoughts about what's going on. Jimmy, what's your thoughts not only on the game, but on the reports swirling around right now?
Unfortunately, I can't even say that I wasn't surprised that this was coming.
Right.
Because again, we can look good for 5 minutes, but terrible for the other 40. So the Falcons and their logic, like, we can look like the best team in the world at times, but then the rest of the game, you're asking yourself, why am I a fan? And we shouldn't be feeling that.
Right. I think the same thing. Jimmy, I'm gonna put you to work. I got one of the folks coming here. Armand says whoever comes in as the GM, I think they're gonna go after the quarterback, after a quarterback in your draft. What is your thought on the very first thing that GM should do aside of getting a head coach? Do you think the next person comes in and completely cleans house, or do you think he gets somebody to try to squeeze the juice out of whatever's left out of Matt Ryan?
So, I know a lot of people aren't going to like this popular opinion.
Okay.
But whatever GM comes in is probably not going to get rid of Matt Ryan nor Julio Jones within the first year.
Yeah.
And here's why.
Yeah.
Not because they wouldn't want to get their own guys in. It's just politics as well as money.
Big money.
Falcons do draft top 5. You still look on quarterback.
Right.
However, it's going to be somebody that is already going to know that they're going to sit maybe a couple of years before they actually get their shot.
Right.
Like I said, I can't say who that guy would be. I honestly think the Falcons have more pressing needs and don't need to go quarterback early on. Because, I mean, you could get a Fields, you could get a Lawrence, you could get Trey Lance. But at the end of the day, if your defense is still giving up 20 and your offense can only score 19, it's a loss.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of fans are missing. We can score as many points as we want on this offense. But if your defense still has guys that don't know the basic principle of how to cover a receiver, how to tackle, you're going to have the same thing year in and year out.
And as a GM who basically is in charge of fielding a roster of talented folks, I think that's the big thing. I think that's where you come in and say, I need a football guy that has a scout. I need a scouting team that can go out and get talented guys to be on this squad. You know?
Exactly.
And that's what I think is going to be the difference going forward. Listen, Dan Quinn being fired is the beginning. After what you saw today from Matt and the too familiar picture of seeing Julio on the sideline instead of on the field, you're going to have to throw a Hail Mary to somebody to say, please get this. You start thinking about teams that need a receiver. You start thinking about the New Englands. You start thinking, don't you know Cam would go out there and recruit Julio to come out there and work with him out there in New England?
And I know it sounds bad, but if you do trade Matt, the funny thing is he's going to go. I know people say Matt can't be the guy to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
But I still will say, if you put Matt on a team like the Chicago, or a team like the Minnesota, when they were actually a good defense, Matt Ryan is a whole different person.
Right. I think I said 2 years ago when they were right before they made the switch, I was saying to myself, I said, boy, if Chicago came in and made that call and said, you know what, we'll give a couple of first rounds for Matt. This is a couple of years ago. And I think you would have to think about taking it. But now with that $30 million tag, which by the way is now the number 12 quarterback in salary, just to show you how quick that lasted. I'm not sure if too many people are going to grab onto that salary, unless something catastrophic happens to your quarterback and you just need somebody to fill in the blank.
To say it, we may have to the Ravens did with Flacco. The Ravens signed Flacco to a $100 million deal.
That's true.
2 years into it, they had to trigger because Flacco wasn't the same quarterback. And maybe it may be time to do the same with Matt Ryan. I mean, like I said, I love my guy Matt Ryan, but I saw a quarterback on the field today that looked defeated, lost, and like, where do we go from here? And if your quarterback's looking like that and he's the leader, you can imagine how that's trickling down to the rest of the players.
And before you even go into the defeated look, which definitely after he threw the touchdown, the interception and some of the throws he was missing, did it seem to you he was being very tentative today? It seemed like he was being too careful today. Some of the throws you got to let go, and I saw him being extremely tentative. Was that just me?
No, it actually wasn't. Matt, at times he'll let the ball go, and then at other times he'll just sit back and say, let me get this guy at least 10, 15 yards. Sometimes you have to just take the 5 or 7 that are there. And it seems at times like and maybe it's just a design of play, I don't know, but it seems at times Matt will be looking for a bigger shot than he needs to instead of just taking whatever the defense is. And Carolina gave us a lot of chances to get the ball up the field, but for some reason, we just didn't take every shot that we had.
I was looking at one of the listeners. Jermaine says, who's going to take Quinn's spot next week if the reports are true? Olbrich is actually the one in line to take. He's the assistant head coach. Now, I don't know whether that's going to happen like that. I mean, obviously, if you make a change, and you have the right to kind of do whatever you want to do. But Olbrich is the one next in line. I don't see there's something to me that just doesn't feel like having Raheem as your head coach. The way that defense is going, I'm not sure. He has his hands full trying to get those boys to do what he needs to do. And am I on the right path with that?
I honestly know this may sound crazy, but I honestly think Raheem would get the nod for head coach. And the only reason why is because Quinn said early on that the play calling duties are split between the two.
Right.
So I feel it could give just one of those guys a chance to really show what they have.
Right.
On the defensive side, know what Raheem Morris is as a defensive coordinator. You've seen that.
Right.
We know what he can be as a head coach. And I think because him and Cutter both have the head coaching experience, you actually move Raheem to the spot because you know he'll know how to game manage and do everything else that's needed, at least for the rest of the season, and then
it's something that we kind of thought was going to happen. And I think as fans, you don't want it to happen because that means if it's happening, that means your team is still losing. And when you're 0-5 with a team that is, I don't know how many $1 million over the salary cap, that's not a good sign. You have players on this team that are top 5 and top 10 salary in their respective positions, yet we can't win one game this year. Jimmy has Hallway Conversations podcast. Just check out everything, all the podcast platforms. He's out there on that. Brother Jimmy, I appreciate you. Like I said before, if we go live, please feel free to give me a call, and me and you could kind of chop it up and talk about what this franchise does next.
Oh, definitely, for sure, man.
Thank you, brother.
No.
Yeah, I mean, right now, again, it's kind of bittersweet. Again, I don't like to see any person lose a job. Yeah, that man has a family, and that man probably has whatever. I know he's getting paid, but that's embarrassing. Nobody likes to lose a job. So this is wish Dan Quinn all the best, but at the end of the day, it is time to make a move. We're gonna cut it short right now. If we get any official word about the firing of Dan Quinn and or other people, we'll come back on live sometime tonight if we get something a little bit more definitive. And we'll definitely be on tomorrow for the rehab. But again, if we have the press conference, we'll try to shoot on live, talk about it, and see what we have going on. But until then, folks, what turned out to be a miserable day all around. Falcons lose again, 0-5. And it looks like per reports from Jeff Schultz at The Athletic, the Falcons have pretty much all but finalized their announcement that Dan Quinn will not be back with the team. Until then, man, y'all take care, and we'll catch y'all later on down the line as we follow this breaking news for the rest of the day and tomorrow. Thanks, y'all.